Hey guys, it's Jack. I wanted to let you know that we're starting a new push for subscriptions here on Human Events Daily. So make sure that when you're listening to this podcast, you hit subscribe, you download it, and you share it with 5 of your friends. Make sure they're all going and downloading as well, because we need to get the signal out as much as possible. Look, we've done so much over the past couple of years since this show started, and we're only going to do so much more. Let's get it. This is what happens when the fourth turning meets fifth generation warfare.
A commentator, international social media sensation, and former Navy intelligence veteran.
This is Human Events with your host, Jack Posobiec.
Christ is king.
Everybody needs to pray for Charlie Kirk right now.
He is a voice of reason out there that has been gunned down for daring to be an American, to tell the truth, to believe in free speech.
My husband laid down his life for me, for our nation, for our children.
When America needed a hero, God sent us a Charlie Kirk.
Charlie Kirk is a casualty of the political war going on in this country. He was gunned down in cold blood.
The evildoers responsible for my husband's assassination have no idea what they have done.
With a high degree of certainty, we have him in custody.
U.S. media are now reporting that the suspect is 22-year-old Tyler Robinson.
The man charged with assassinating Charlie Kirk was living with a transgender partner.
It was a family member and a family friend who helped deliver Tyler Robinson to law enforcement in Washington County.
Inscriptions on the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist!" Catch!
He believed strongly that we could solve a lot of our differences with just a good old-fashioned conversation.
He was shot for speaking the truth. He was shot for speaking his mind. He was shot for defending the Constitution.
He didn't hate people. He didn't even hate liberals. He just hated intolerance.
He was fighting not just for his own young children, but for all of our children.
Never, ever stop fighting, no matter what.
We will achieve American greatness, and we are just getting started.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard today's edition of Human Events Daily. Today is July 10th, 2026, Anno Domini. It's Human Events Prime Time. And today is day 5, or was day 5, of the preliminary hearing here in Provo, Utah, in the courtroom in the homicide of Charlie Kirk. And today, at the very end of the session, there was a moment where the live stream was turned off, and there was a video played only for the people in the courtroom. So I was there, a number of other Charlie's friends, Charlie's family, Tyler Robinson's family, and Tyler Robinson, and a few other members of the media. Fox News was there, local CBS, New York Times, and you've seen the end of this video where the individual in black is jumping off the roof and running across the lawn in the parking lot with the rifle wrapped in the towel. But what they showed us was the beginning part of that video zoomed in. And the judge won't allow this to be shown yet because he thinks there's issues about having a fair trial if they show this before the trial, before there's a jury. But we saw it. And in the video, you see Tyler Robinson walking up the stairs slowly with his limp, because he's got the gun under his, the rifle under his clothing. And then it's so much clearer in the courtroom, and they need to release these videos so everyone can see how crystal clear it is. It's stunning how bad it looks on the live stream, quite frankly. There's so much, compression and all the loss of information. But I'm just gonna say it. You see him get up on the roof, he goes over the guardrail, and he assembles the rifle, and then he runs to the edge of the Losi Center building with the gravel roof, and he gets down in the prone position, and he waits. He waits. He waits. Then right at 12:23, he takes a shot. And he shoots Charlie. You see him executing Charlie. And everybody needs to see this. Just everybody needs to see this. And it's not fun. It's not easy to watch, but it's real, and it happened, and it's evidence, and it's on footage, and you can see this person lying there hunting. He said he was going hunting. He takes the shot. You've seen the other side of that too. He gets up and he runs away, wraps the rifle in the towel, and there we go. I think everybody needs to see this. Never, ever stop fighting, no matter what.
We will achieve American greatness, and we are just getting started.
All right, folks, Jack Posobiec back live here, Human Events Daily, Real America's Voice. This is Human Events special primetime coverage of the Tyler Robinson hearing live from Provo, Utah. This week has been a reminder of what really matters: faith, family, freedom, and the legacy Charlie Kirk helped inspire. Even something as ordinary as your phone service starts to matter more in moments like these. The people you trust to protect and defend your communication matter just as much as the calls you make on it. That's what Patriot Mobile is all about. For more than 12 years, they've stood with Americans who want their money to reflect their values back in the Christian conservative movement and showing up for the movement Charlie helped build. And switching is easy. You can keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. Their 100% US-based support team can get you activated in minutes. And if you're still paying off a device, they can even help with a contract buyout. Best of all, they deliver premium priority access on all 3 major US networks, so you're not sacrificing quality to make a principled choice. If you believe it matters whom you trust to protect and defend your communication, Patriot Mobile is worth a look. Go to patriotmobile.com/POSO or call 972-PATRIOT. Use promo code POSO for a free month of service. That's patriotmobile.com/POSO or 972-PATRIOT. Make this switch today. And you know what's amazing is, there's already, of course, people now who, are going around saying that, Jack, you didn't see what you saw in the courtroom. You didn't see that video. You didn't see what was on there. Blah, blah, blah. You didn't see this. I'm like, no one is going to tell me that I didn't see what I saw. So let's just leave it right there. That's number one. No one is going to tell me that I didn't see what I saw. Okay. And I have enough training, experience, and background with firearms to know that when you see a man who is in a prone firing position, take that position, aim, then flinch, then get up, entire body flinches, then get up and run away. I know that means a shot was just fired. I think a 5-year-old would know what that means. So no, I'm not going to play this game of being like, whoa, you know, you could. No, we're not going to play that game. And there are other people who saw it as well. Local news is saying they saw it. So please, we're not going to play that game. We're here live though, and really, really glad that he's here in the room with us. We got Nick Sorter. What's up, Nick?
Well, happy to be here. Not happy with obviously the circumstances, and you know, but obviously it's important that as many of us that can come out to support the you know, Erica and you know, the Turning Point USA family.
Yeah, and it's just amazing to me that there are people now who are attacking the evidence that was played in court because, you know, you can play that game for a little bit, but this is eventually going to be released publicly. Just like people attacked all the evidence that had existed for the last 10 months, and then it comes out in court, and here's Lance Twiggs on TV, on video, telling you what he did. Guess what? The video is going to come out eventually, and what do you think is going to happen there? So, I mean, people could play games and do whatever, but again, I know what I saw. I don't even think I'm the first person who said it publicly, as a matter of fact. And it kind of reminds me of, you know, as I saw there were some people saying that, you know, that Tyler Robinson wasn't actually laughing in court on the first day. And when he was laughing, I saw it in real time. And I just sort of made him, like, I'll never forget seeing him laughing in court in front of Charlie's crying wife and mother. And I didn't even know, because we don't have our phones, were in there. I didn't know that the other reporters had tweeted it out and it was going viral and was all over the place. I just knew what I saw.
Sure.
And so, I mean, it feels to me like one of those things where people are now trying to split hairs. And, you know, what are they going to say? Oh, well, you don't actually see his finger in the trigger. Like, guys, seriously?
I mean, at no point has it ever been the standard for evidence is, you know, seeing a, you know, an 8K video with somebody's finger in the trigger and pulling it.
Well, what's remarkable is that you typically don't have video like this out at all.
And nobody up until today, you know, the general public, they've been told by certain people on the internet that the video doesn't exist to begin with, right? And now we know that that was all BS. It wasn't true. There is a video of it happening. And by
the way, I didn't know that there was a video.
Yeah,
I until this week, I had no idea that this was on video.
Yep, and I know that people,
because I had no indication either way.
And people are complaining, saying like, well, why won't the prosecution release it to the public?
They tried to.
They tried to. Erica's attorneys were pushing for it to be released. The media's attorneys were trying to get it so that they could put it on camera. They were denied. The only people that didn't want it to be released to the public was the defense. It was Tyler Robinson's people. That's it. So if you want to know why it wasn't released to the public, ask the judge, ask the defense. That's it. All the rest of us want it released.
Yeah, look, and I think, you know, with some of this stuff, and to be clear, you know, you can't, it's a figure in black, just the same as the way it's a figure in black on the rooftop that you see running across. It's basically that same video. It's just more of that video.
But there's a trail of video as well.
And so I'm not saying that you can see the person's face in it, but what I'm saying is when you put the preponderance of evidence all together, the DNA, the videos leading up the stairs to that rooftop, then it's obviously logically going to be the same person, because we don't just take one piece of evidence. We put all of the evidence together that we know. And for people saying, well, somebody I saw said, like, we don't actually see him hit Charlie. I said, well, how would you have a video of that? We did see him hit Charlie. We saw that on 910, by the way. I've seen that video. I've seen that video 1,000 times. And these people are splitting hairs because they've taken the wrong side of this. And rather than follow the evidence, where it leads, and just sit there and say, this is what the evidence shows, this is what the evidence doesn't show. They don't want to do that because they have a preconceived bias, which, by the way, is prejudicial. That means you have judged something before you've looked at the evidence.
Yep. And this is exactly what the defense wants. They want to continue down this path of having people argue about it, right? Because that is the last stand that they have. They didn't even need this video. The prosecution didn't even need this video today. This was the nuke that they were waiting to drop at the end of everything else. They had already established probable cause 2 days ago, right? Maybe even on the first day, enough to bring it to trial, and probably enough for a pretty good conviction, pretty solid conviction. And then they drop this nuke. So we're arguing about this one single video, and all of a sudden, like, all of the other stuff is going to be ignored now. I mean, like, this is honestly, in the grand scheme of things, this isn't even consequential.
There's an old saying, if you're explaining, you're losing. And, the sheer volume of evidence, to your point, that was presented just this week is, to me, it seems insurmountable. I don't know. People have asked me, do you think he's going to plead guilty? I don't think that he is. But I'm not going to say there's a zero chance. It's a non-zero chance.
I'm hearing that
based on that.
I'm hearing that there's a possibility that the prosecution won't even offer him a plea deal because it's just so.
I haven't heard anything about.
solid.
I have not heard a single thing about deals.
No,
I have not heard a single.
They want him put to death. That's what everybody wants. That's what
I have not
I won't
heard.
speak for you.
And I have
that's
not
what I
heard anyone. Well, I'll just say from being in the courthouse all week, I have not heard anyone say anything about deals. We know obviously that County DA Jeff Gray, he is the one who is seeking the death penalty. So I mean that's public all from day one of these charges that the death penalty is being sought.
Yep.
So from all intents and purposes that I see is that they intend to go through with that. My personal position, I've said it over and over, that the death penalty should always be sought for assassins, because an assassin threatens your way of life itself. They are going after it's a terrorist activity against your country, against your nation, against your people, against your way of life. You cannot allow an assassin to go free. It's the same as allowing a terrorist to go free. Dzhokhar Tsarnaev, like, he's got to go. He's still on death row from the Boston Marathon bombing, 2013, April 2013, blew up a 5-year-old kid with a bomb. So again, you just can't allow these things if you want to have a functioning society. So, and the reason I say that is because I don't want anyone to think, people say, like, you were friends with Charlie, and that's the only reason. Look, obviously, I'm not saying I wasn't. I'm just saying that I have always said this for assassins.
Yep. No, nothing new. We've all been consistent on the matter, and honestly, I think it should he be convicted, which I genuinely believe that he will. It should be done quickly. And going back to the playing the video in court, at no point did we hear the defense try to claim. I know people online are trying to say, it was AI generated or something. They have no evidence to say that, but these people are grasping at straws at this point.
Well, and even just, I know what. So I saw that people were doing like AI upscaling of the Lance Twiggs video.
Yep.
This was not AI upscaling. This was
it
was a zoomed in video the same way that him jumping off the roof is zoomed in. It's just a zoom in. That's all it is. It's not upscaling.
Yep.
And I know the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's definitely a difference. And the feds and the state, they've had this, I guess, probably for months now and everything.
Almost a year.
A lot of the photos that we said, they were not the ones that did that upscale image that people kept trying to say, this isn't the same guy.
So people online have been enhancing things and upscaling things and doing all this other stuff. And I don't post that stuff because I try to stay away from it as much as I can. If I do, it's ever been inadvertent, but I tried very hard not to post those things because I don't want to make it look like I'm trying to tip the scales here, because that is, if you're upscaling something or AIing something, then you are obviously creating false evidence.
AI has no ability to make a picture clearer, right? All it can do is guess and generate pixels.
Exactly.
Based on that.
1 second, quick break, right back. Jack Posobiec, Mixed Order. Never, ever stop fighting, no matter what.
We will achieve American greatness, and we are just getting started.
All right, folks, Jack Posobiec. We are back. Human Events Prime Time. We're on with Nick Sorter. I want to, by the way, say again, thank you to our friends at Allegiance Gold for providing us the security that they have all week while we're here. And Nick, you know, you've been sort of watching this. Let's zoom out. We were just talking about a zoomed in video, but let's zoom out and just sort of talk about, from your perspective. I'm in the courtroom, not sort of in the online sphere. How do you think this week went in terms of not the court, but the court of public opinion?
It was an absolute demolition. Obviously, that most of my life is spent when I'm not doing an on-the-ground story. I'm monitoring chatter online, seeing how the public on all social media platforms are responding to certain things. I mean, the court of public opinion. I was shocked at some of the people that were all of a sudden like, help. I can name one, Sean Strickland. Go look at his page right now. It's like, I mean, he pretty much, went from totally conspiratorial that this is a big conspiracy. I don't know exactly what his views were, but that Tyler Robinson hadn't done it, right? And just based on having
he was skeptical.
He was more than skeptical, and now all of a sudden he's he watched a lot of the same live stream coverage that the general public did, and even from that, watching Lance Twiggs testify under oath, under penalty of perjury, the story matches up perfectly. This is one of the things that I'm sure people, I forgot I was wearing a NASA hat, so I guess
whatever. Oh, I see where you're going.
Yeah.
What other case, though, do you have someone who's the significant other testifying against them? Like you just, I can't even think of one where you've got like a girlfriend or a wife or a husband that's testifying against their significant other. I think it's unprecedented. I just think it's unprecedented. And so this isn't Jack Posobiec saying it. It's not Nick Sorter saying it. It's not, the Emir of Qatar saying it or whatever, right? This is the person who knew Tyler Robinson the most. And in fact, his parents as well, who were in the courtroom. And, this has got to be hell for them. They were the ones who turned him in. And they haven't gone to the cameras and said, you guys got it all wrong, and our son did. They haven't done that. No. These are the people who are closest to him. That's all I'm saying. They need to be drilled home.
And when the text messages were being shown talking about Grandpa's rifle, that's when his Tyler Robinson's mom started breaking down, crying when those text messages were being shown. You're not going to break down if it's a fake text message. You're going to be outraged, right? If you have that emotional response that you believe that it's true, you're probably going to start crying, because that's sentimental stuff, right? And I'm not saying that that's evidence of guilt necessarily, but
to me, and I'll just say that as a parent, you give your son a family heirloom because you want them to carry on the legacy of the family. It's your hope for the future. It's the flag that you're planting in time, that my life was worth something, and the people who came before me will now live on through you. And that when you giving over like a family rifle like that is an example of something that, hey, since 1938, or at least it was designed whenever it was, that that was the reason, I'm sure, that they gave it to their son, not to do something like this.
Right. And the grand conspiracies that we've been hearing for, I guess, since September.
Just real quick. My father has his father's World War II rifle with the bayonet. And in our family, and along with all of my grandfather's World War II, memorabilia from having served, those are some of the most just sacred things that we have, that with that kind of service and that kind of background on it. So, I mean, it's you take special care of those things.
And knowing that it's in the center of a high profile assassination now, it's just, I can't even imagine. But you and I have seen,
they are victims too.
They
really are.
Yeah. And I do believe that. I do have sympathy for them. I truly do. And maybe that may not be the popular opinion, but I think that
they did the right thing.
They did the right thing, and they're not going out in front of the cameras and saying anything.
No,
it's not like Carmelo Anthony's parents who are out there every freaking day being like, my boy didn't do nothing.
Vikram Digwa, from Henry Novak, when his family is trying to help him cover it up and lying to the police and all of this, they seem like decent, honorable people. Just in my brief, having spent time with them, they seem like decent people.
Yeah, I mean, they're there to support their son. At the end of the day, it is still their son, so you can't blame them for showing up. But they do seem to be pretty respectable. But the point that I want to make about all these theories that have gone back for since I guess September, late September of last year is when this stuff started coming up with.
Well, not even late September. You had people that were making claims about this while Charlie's body was still in the SUV, right? And that's why, just as a guy who says let's follow the evidence, regardless of being close to it, I just want to know what actually happened, not what people think happened, what people want to have happened, what people speculate happened. Show me the evidence. Right. And guess what? That's what we saw this week. And the evidence only points in one direction.
Yeah, absolutely. And seeing the inside of both state and federal governments at this point under both administrations, all of the people that would need to be involved, the Egyptian plane thing, I don't even know what the hell happened to that at this point. I've lost track of all of it. But all of these people that would have to be involved for this to be some grand conspiracy that, this guy is a patsy and everything is fabricated. The government is not competent enough to do that. There's too many people involved in something like that. Somebody is going to squeal. It's like the moon landing. That's why I want to say that. The government, it would be easier for them to land on the moon than to fake landing on the moon.
And
that's it.
And how are you going to get all of the people to be on the same page, from not just the boyfriend, but to the parents, to the Ring videos that we're getting now, the doorknob videos that line up with exactly what everyone else is saying that they've investigated. So, if you think the government is that powerful, I mean, I would love if we could use that power to just deport all the illegals. If we could focus on that, I would love to be talking about that much more than being here in Utah and having to do any of this. I don't want to do this. I hate every moment of this, but I appreciate having friends like you and family like my brother coming out and helping it.
Appreciate you, sir. Keep up the good work.
Thanks so much, Nick. God bless you and everyone. We will be right back with more Human Events Primetime here in Provo, Utah. Never, ever stop fighting, no matter what.
We will achieve American greatness, and we are just getting started.
Welcome back to Human Events' special primetime coverage of the Tyler Robinson hearing. We're live here in Provo, Utah. And before we get started, I'd like to thank Allegiance Gold, our partners there, for making this special coverage possible. Look, covering a trial like this from the scene, it takes a lot behind the scenes, too, including the security that's required for our team to be here safely. And their support from Allegiance Gold is a big part of making that possible, and we are so grateful for it. Look, spending time here also reminds me that security means different things to different people. And for us this week, it's physical security on location. But for all of us, it's also about financial security, doing what we can to protect our families and what we've worked hard to build. That's why I'm especially thankful for Allegiance Gold. We've been working together for the past 5 years, and relationships like that aren't built overnight. They're built on trust, consistency, and showing up for each other. We appreciate their support of this special coverage, and we're proud to have them standing with us. If you'd like to learn more, visit protectwithposo.com. That's protectwithposo.com. Go check them out. All Patriots, protectwithposo.com or 844-577-POSO to learn more. All right, I want to bring on someone who's been covering this trial. We've had her on for other cases in the past, but I want to get her on for this. It's Lyndon Blake. She's the host of That's So Criminal over at Daily Wire. Lyndon, how are you? It's good to see you again.
Good to see you too, Jack. How are you?
Well, I have to admit, it's very fresh. Seeing this new video that was just played in court, I really, really implore the judge or whoever's decision it is to make it public. Everyone needs to see this. Everyone needs to see this video, because this was the single biggest piece of evidence that came out this week. And the fact that it's only out in the courtroom, it's not good enough. It's just not good enough. Everybody needs to see this because, I mean, and it's very hard to watch. I mean, you see him crawl over, prone position, waiting, and then taking the shot and running away. And it's right there. It's right there on video.
And that's why transparency in the courtroom is so important. And even though this wasn't shown on the live stream, I'm so thankful that you were there, the Kirk family, as painful as it has to be to watch your loved one's final moments, for them to be able to see what is out there is so important. And what is something to think about, Jack, is this just being a probable cause hearing? We don't even know what other evidence the prosecution has. Surely they're keeping some things close to their chest that they plan to bring out if this goes to trial, because the burden to prove a probably Tyler Robinson did it is so low for the prosecution. And I want to ask you, and speaking of new evidence that could be introduced, when you were watching this enhanced video, this clear zoomed in video, did you notice a phone or anything in the video? Because that's something else that could ping Tyler Robinson there.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So it's something, it's you can actually see the phone even in the raw video, and you don't need the one that's it's not even enhanced. It's just zoomed in a couple spots. It's not a different video. It's just zoomed in so that you can see what he's doing on the roof. And you've already, so you know the end of the, you know the part of the video where he's running across and then he drops down and he runs off the grass with the gun. So it's the beginning part of that video. So it's the moments, a couple minutes right before that, before he takes the shot. That's what you see. So the quality is pretty much the same as that, but the video you can see in the courtroom is so much better quality than what you can see on these live streams. And that's why I really, really implore the system, the judicial system here in Utah, to release those videos to the public so that we can all see high quality. Yes, he's on his phone. He has his phone in his hand. It's not pixelated at that point. It's not zoomed in. That's just a regular high quality surveillance camera of him when he's sort of walking in those stairwells and the walkway from the parking structure. So he's clearly got a phone in his hand at multiple points.
Wow. So yeah, I mean, that's just something else that could be presented if this goes to trial, which we know in other cases is just something that is hard to deny. That cell phone location where that is pinging right there is just something to think about. And I saw another reporter that was there at the courthouse in Utah bring that up, that if the defense, if that wasn't Tyler Robinson and that video, or the defense thought they could prove that wasn't it because of cell phone, you would think in a probable cause hearing, they would bring that up in court this week, but they didn't. They had to stick to nitpicking DNA, trying to create doubt in the methods there, and going after the ballistics experts and trying to just create doubt and create confusion from their expert witness, Lyndon, just to try to, make that.
Yeah, and I want to be clear about what you're talking about. So the defense didn't challenge any of the hard evidence other than what you just said. So all the other pieces of hard evidence, and they even admitted, Mr. Novak said at one point, I wrote it down yesterday when he did, that the text messages and Discord messages were sent by Tyler Robinson. He stipulated that at one point. And when they're going after, and Michael Burt, and he does these long, drawn out recitations about the DNA and the ballistics, he's not actually talking, it's not even that he's going after the DNA in this case. He's going after the entire science of DNA. Like, do you believe in DNA science or not? And the same thing with ballistics. Do you believe in ballistic science or not? So even then, this is sort of and I've looked at his background a little bit. This is what he always does in cases, especially capital cases and murder cases. He's been doing it since the 1990s. He comes from a time, he got started as a lawyer in a time when DNA was brand new. And these types of arguments, like in the OJ case, were you know, they were accepted more by juries to say, oh, this DNA and I touched something and suddenly that you can tell that I touched it and it's not a fingerprint, you know, that used to work in sort of the pre-CSI effect era of America, late 90s or so. But these days, you know, most people accept DNA science, and most people also accept ballistic science. So the idea that they're challenging the very underlying science itself, I just, from a personal level, I don't think that any jury is really going to be swayed by that.
Yeah, and to your point about Novak bringing up the Discord chats, I was watching some of this preliminary hearing with a friend that is a practicing attorney, and when they were trying to get the redactions out of the Lance Twiggs video recording, which I know we're about to get into that, I thought it was interesting that the defense, in a way, they were trying to protect something, but in order to try to protect it, they had to reveal what it was, even though they tried to play it off as, well, the prosecution will call this a confession. But in many ways, it was like, okay, you were trying to prevent a portion of the video that you think will be viewed as a confession from playing, but you trying to prevent it is letting the world know, that's kind of peeling back the curtain, that in that video, Lance Twiggs says that Tyler Robinson did some sort of confession. I thought that was a part of this preliminary hearing that was interesting to watch the defense try to do their job and try to get stuff protected. But in the act of doing that, some new information that we haven't heard got out.
Yeah, and look, you know, I suppose I understand why the defense wanted to block this video from being played, because this is the significant other of Tyler Robinson coming forward and say, yes, Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. And not only do I know that he did it, but he told me that he did it. He told me multiple times over the phone, on text message, and at least one time in person with this new meeting that I don't think we knew about before, that they met in person on September 11th, the day after the shooting at, they say apartment here in Utah, by the way. It's more of a townhouse, but I don't get why they do that here. I've noticed other people doing it too. It's multiple levels. It's much more than just an apartment. But they had that meeting after the fact that Twiggs is talking about, where Tyler was pacing around the room frantically and confessed yet again that he was the one who did it. We're coming up on a quick break here, Lennon. I'd love to hold you over because we do need to get into more of this. We're here, Jack Posobiec, day 5. Real America's Voice. Human Events Primetime. We'll be right back. Ever stop fighting, no matter what.
We will achieve American greatness, and we are just getting started.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back here, Human Events Prime Time. Jack Posobiec live in Provo, Utah, and you know, as we close out this series, I just want to thank Allegiance Gold and really just all of our sponsors for stepping up and going above and beyond to support just our ability to be here and to be safe and to do what we do. And I really, really, from the bottom of my heart, say thank you. This has not been an easy week. Today has not been an easy day. I was hoping that, you know, Friday be a little bit easier. It was not, and we're going to get into that more in a second. But I really want to thank you so much, and it means so much to me to be here. And look, it's all about supporting Erica, supporting family. And you know, when they asked us to be here, I said, of course, there's no question. You know, we're going to be there as long as it takes, and we'll be back as many times as it takes as well, I should add. And that everyone's support and prayers and everybody out there, it's so important. We're on with Lyndon and Lyndon Blake and Lyndon. So this evidence, by the way, that the state has of Tyler Robinson, you know, the man identified as Tyler Robinson, I suppose we should say, for it to be official, going across the rooftop. You can also see him, by the way, crouching down for a moment, and there is a piece that's cut off because there is an edit there where it jumps from one angle to another. But I believe that's the moment that he would be assembling the rifle on the rooftop before he goes across the gravel, runs across the gravel, and then lies down in the prone position. And this, beyond the Twiggs testimony, I would say this is the single most devastating piece of information that the state has, at least that we know about as of this point.
Yeah. And I mean, you going out there, and I saw where you were talking to local news stations in Utah and doing a lot of media availability, which is so important because us who were not in the courtroom were not allowed to see that. I know the Kirk family representative, the media representative, I mean, they fought for this, fought for transparency. It is so important to build that trust, but Judge Graff, you know, ruled to just have it shown to the courtroom. But I am so thankful that you did go out there, so you were able to see it, and being someone that is not only a friend and was a great friend of Charlie Kirk, but you were also in the media and know how important it is to get the truth out there. So I'm glad you got to see that. And yes, that huge piece of evidence. And then you have the Lance Twiggs on camera testimony under oath. And this is what we all knew heading into this, that we would probably see. And watching this video and hearing Lance Twiggs talk, which again, I know that he has immunity and he was cooperating, but what was striking to hear is how casual their interaction seemed via text and in person on September 11th. And that to me, as someone listening to that testimony, and again, he was forthcoming with his information from all accounts that we know, but it's just being in your townhome with your romantic partner and having this conversation. Hey, I know yesterday you told me you were the one that took out Charlie Kirk. Did you mean that? And I know Twiggs said that's when Robinson started crying and saying that he wished he hadn't done it, which I know had to be just a shiver had to go down the Kirk's family's spine to be in there when that was being played, to hear those words that know that he wished he hadn't done it. But I would just say that is such a casual interaction for the magnitude of the crime that was committed against Charlie Kirk on September 10th. And even their conversations prior. Jack, I know you brought up that it really stuck with you when Twiggs was talking about Tyler Robinson engraving bullets at their home, talking about how he was just doing it to go hunting, just a casual activity with his family. And then it turned into a horrible situation where now you have Tyler Robinson accused of the murder of Charlie Kirk with his life on the line.
And by the way, Lynn, there was a moment today during the evidence presented by, I believe it was the ATF DNA technician, where they were talking about the Dremel. And this was the tool, of course, that did the etching of the bullets itself, where, and this was a defense witness, but the defense brought up the fact that according to the report, and the way they show the reports, we can't even really read them. I mean, they say it's in the courtroom, but you know, I can't read it because it's all the way across the room, and like my eyesight's decent, but it's not that good. They said though that there was a match to Lance Twiggs on the buttons of that Dremel tool. Now, if this was a shared tool, that I'm sure, he could say there's a million reasons that his DNA would be on that he would have been using it that aren't related to etching the bullets. But that was very interesting to hear that his DNA was found on the very tool that made those etchings, as the state has brought up in court. as was Tyler Robinson's. And so, there are a lot of people, and I certainly as well, have questions as to whether or not Twiggs actually knew about this or didn't prior to this happening. And I guess I'll just say, we haven't got the answers quite as much as we want on all of those questions. And it's something where or even during his interview when he said, "Oh, we never discussed LGBT issues." I mean, like, really? You never discussed that, even though he would pop off about politics, and obviously you two were in a relationship, and one of them was driven so far as to go and commit this act while he's engraving things like Bella Ciao, which is the Antifa anthem, and Hey Fascist, Catch on these bullets. It almost seems to me that the effect of the political radicalization is trying to be minimized. And yeah, just that evidence about the DNA being on that etching was very interesting to me.
Oh, yeah. I
Etching
think
tool.
that Lance Twiggs has been the mystery character during the last 10 months. I mean, he has been the one where people are saying, who is this guy? What did he know? What did he not know? Where has he been? What was his relationship with Tyler beyond being his lover? What is going on? And so when his name was first brought up in court as having DNA on that towel and screwdriver, and this was days ago, it was like, oh wow, like this person, that we've known his name since September, he's in the courtroom now. He is involved in it. And then hearing his statement and hearing that his DNA was on a lot of other tools. I mean, obviously they did share a house together, and DNA is so complicated. And I thought the expert witness today, Caitlin Oliver, did such a good job for the ATF of explaining when she was pressed about her methods. She was saying, look, I can tell you that the DNA profile found on the rifle is 1 in a trillion times more likely to match Tyler Robinson's than another unknown profile on that rifle. And then she even flipped it and said there is less than a 1 in trillion chance that that DNA profile on that rifle belongs to another unknown profile. That is, you're never going to hear 100% certainty with DNA. If you followed any crime case, DNA is so complicated, but the DNA being found on all parts of that rifle, different parts that heavily match in a strong ratio to Tyler Robinson, to me, even though that was the defense witness, I thought the prosecution did a great job in cross-examining her and getting those facts out.
Lyndon,
And
we are just unfortunately just running out of time. Where can people go to follow you and get more of your info?
of course, I'm always on Daily Wire. We have a podcast, That's So Criminal, where we break it down, and you can follow me at Lyndon Blake. Jack, thank you so much.
God bless, and God bless everyone out there. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, you have my permission to lay ashore.